Last year, I pulled this 2009 MacBook out of the dump.
Free.
I haven't tested it and I'm not even sure if it works. So we're going to see if with a little help from our friend Linux and maybe the Lord above, we can resurrect this thing. If you don't know me, I'm Spencer and I like to talk about simple living, frugality, and digital minimalism. Let's get into it. Now this project felt particularly interesting to me because I've been an Apple user for a good while now, but in the recent past, I've been getting pretty deep into Linux. One of my favorite things about Linux is the fact that it works so well on old hardware. And because of the community-driven nature of Linux, there's just so much support for these types of older devices. So just like I talk about with buy it for life items on this channel, by utilizing the secondhand market and putting in that work to maintain those things and keep them going for as long as possible, Linux is a good way to do that on the tech end, to keep things going and out of the landfill. And in this case, when I say out of the landfill, I mean it literally. I pulled this out of the dump. Last summer, I was visiting a friend of mine up north and we took a stop at the local dump. Now, me and this friend, we have about 40 years between us in age, but we're both kindred spirits and we both are pickers and love digging through trash. So when he mentioned all of the good free stuff he was pulling out of the town dump, things like KitchenAid stand mixers, multiple of them he's gotten over the years, which were in working condition but just thrown out, I knew I had to take a look for myself. Well, folks, within 10 minutes of being there, I found not one, but two Apple computers. This MacBook, 2009 plastic MacBook, and a Power Mac G5. So I ended up taking both of them home. The Power Mac G5 I tested and was working, and I ended up donating that to someone. But this MacBook remained a bit of a question mark. I didn't want to pay for an aftermarket charger given that I got the computer for nothing, so I figured I would just wait and see if one came around. And well, folks, this week, one finally did. Now I had forgotten, but my girlfriend has an old MacBook Pro of this vintage in the closet. Now I honestly should have guessed because she's been an absolute goldmine for old tech. That's how I got my old iPod Classic. But with her MacBook Pro was the right generation of charger. So today we're finally gonna plug this thing in and see if it fires up. And if it does, we're gonna put Linux on this thing. Now my friend who I was with at the time when I found this device had expressed interest in taking it and using it as his own computer. Now he's an older guy with super basic hardware needs. He just wants to go on the browser, check his email, the odd thing like that. But even then, I figured if he really was to do anything on this computer, especially connect to the internet, he'd be better if I put any flavor of Linux on it. So on this 15-year-old USB drive that I have, I've put Linux Mint XFCE. Now, if you're watching this video hoping to glean information to do this yourself, the things that you need are a USB stick, to download the software called Balena Etcher, and to download the install file for whatever Linux distro you want to try. Once you install Balena Etcher, plug your USB stick into your computer, select the Linux file, select your drive, and then flash it. And it really should be that easy. We're gonna see. Now this isn't my first time using Linux Mint, but it is my first time using XFCE. As opposed to Linux Mint Cinnamon, XFCE is supposed to be much lighter weight and easier to run on old hardware like this. And with that said, let's let it rip and see if it's true. Now as I've said, I have not yet plugged this computer in, so this video could be truly over if this does not start. Okay, moment of truth here, folks. Ooh, let there be light! Yes! Yes, it's power. You never know if something is going to be working when it's in the garbage or not. That could be the reason why it's in the garbage. Literally just today, I found a fully working Asus computer monitor just in the garbage. But the power light doesn't mean that everything else works. So let's see if we're in luck. I'm just going to boot up macOS for one try to see. Light down here. Fully functional computer from the dump. Like the screen is honestly clean. It all seems to be working. Wow. Whoever had this last didn't take their stuff off here. Their data is still here. Can I go in with the guest user account? There it is. So it's macOS Sierra, 4 gigabytes RAM, and 256 gig hard drive, it looks like. It is cool to look back on this macOS because I had a MacBook Pro from around this era, from 2011. It kind of makes me not want to wipe it, but no, we're gonna do Linux Mint. Now the battery is either so cooked or maybe it's not even in here that when I pull this cable, the computer fully dies. But really it's a free computer from the dump, so how much more can you ask? Oh, what's that? Well folks, I've just been handed this tape, which is supposedly from the sponsor of today's video, so let's pop it in the VCR and see what it is. This video is brought to you by Internext. Yo, hey kid. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Looking for a secure place to store your files without big tech snooping? Well, take a look at this. This is today's video sponsor, Internext. Open source, privacy first cloud storage. You see, everything's end-to-end encrypted, which means only you can access your files. No one else, not even Internext. Internext uses true end-to-end zero-knowledge encryption, plus post-quantum cryptography, meaning your files are encrypted locally on your device and they're protected even against future quantum computing threats. So keep your setup safe and secure, whether it's your personal files, projects, or your home server. Because Internext works with all types of setups, home servers, apps, and power user workflows. The Lifetime Ultimate plan gives you 5 terabytes of storage on a one-time payment. No subscriptions, no recurring fees. It don't matter web, desktop, or mobile, with Internext you can access your files anywhere. And more, this plan comes with VPN, antivirus, cleaner, and Meet software all included. Everything you need to stay private and organized at no extra cost. And the best part, you get 87% off using my link. Buy once, keep your files private, and stick it to big tech. So people, don't wait. Check out Internext and keep your digital life secure. And now, ladies and germs, back to the video. Well, that was interesting, wasn't it? So we know it works. Now it's time for the Linux Mint install. So the way to do this, if you've never done this before on an old MacBook like this, you plug the USB stick in, you boot the computer up, and while it's booting up, you hold Option. So here we go. I'm holding Option. Is it working? Awesome. Now here you have EFI boot. I'm going to try this one. Okay, great. So that worked. That was actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Start Linux Mint XFCE 64-bit. Here we go. Resurrecting the MacBook. Here we go, Linux up in here. While we're waiting, I just want to acknowledge that my memory stick matches the MacBook and the green light flashing matches the Linux Mint color. Okay, so nearly a minute has passed and nothing has happened yet. We're still on this Linux Mint screen with the logo here. The old girl's got to stretch her legs a little before she's ready to run. I think that's really it. Oh, cursor has just arrived. Here we go, guys. We're in. Linux Mint, we're in. This actually looks pretty similar to Cinnamon. I think that the taskbar at the bottom is different. It's maybe a bit more simple, but very similar. Okay, so folks, if this happens to be your first time looking at Linux, what we're seeing here isn't the actual installed version of Linux Mint yet. This is called the live test environment. Essentially what this is a way for you to demo out Linux Mint to see if you like the feel of it, and then you can actually do the install afterward. So now I see the icons are definitely simplified on here. The Firefox logo, the Thunderbird Mail logo, everything has changed a little bit on here. All right, so I opened LibreOffice just as a quick test because I just wanted to make sure that the keyboard's working. Yeah, it seems like everything's going through just fine. So if you wanted to demo out Linux Mint and see if it actually felt right for you using the live environment, that's kind of what that's for. I know that this is going to be a good fit for this computer. It seems to feel really good on this. You know, it's actually pretty snappy. Everything seems to be opening pretty fast. So we're actually going to go ahead with the install now. So you click the install in the top corner. Got the little loading pie, so you still kind of feel at home as a Mac user. All right, so here's the fun part, the install. It seems to be working. It's doing all the stuff in the background it needs to do. Okay, so we're back and the computer has gone black. I'm hoping that's just a reboot thing and we're going to come back with Linux Mint installed. Fingers crossed. Installation is finished. You can continue testing Linux Mint now, but until you restart the computer, any changes you make or documents you save will not be preserved. So let's do the restart right now. Here we go. Okay, welcome to Linux Mint. Now I really want to see what this computer is capable of. 2009 MacBook with 4 gigabytes of RAM. Let's see what we can do. So already we pretty much have everything that a basic user is going to need. We have a web browser, we have email, we have a photo organizer, we have music player, we have a calculator. Let's pop open Firefox here and we'll do the old YouTube test. Let's go to YouTube. Okay, that loaded pretty fast for a computer of this vintage. Okay, playing 1080p on YouTube on this 2009 Mac. It's a little sluggish. Okay, it's fine now. It's definitely running a bit sluggish, like, to run YouTube, to pull up the comments, it's hesitating a little bit. There's a little bit, you scroll down, things aren't quite loaded. But generally, it seems to be working okay. The crazy thing is that the speakers on this are better than my ThinkPad T480. Lenovo really needs to get their speakers in order, honestly, because this computer shouldn't be that good, but I would say it's slightly better. It's definitely a bit sluggish, like when I'm scrolling down on my page here. It's taking a minute for some things to load, but it's pretty good. The average like grandparent is probably going to be okay with that. I know at least one set of my grandparents would be okay with this speed. And I think my friend is going to be good with this as well. Yeah, it seems to be loading actually pretty decently. It's a little slow, but like, again, free computer from the dump. Like, can't argue with that really. Let's just check a few sites. We're going to go to Rand Prier's blog. I know that's going to load pretty fast. That's it. That's the blog. That's refreshing completely fine. No problem there. It's not lightning fast as you can see here. Like this is just a Google search. But again, for an older person, I don't think this is going to be much of an issue. Slightly future Spencer here. I did do some more troubleshooting on the computer last night and I was able to speed up the internet quite a bit. I was pretty confused because navigating Linux Mint itself was really snappy, but the internet itself was quite slow, even though my signal was good. It seems like the issue might be the Broadcom Wi-Fi chips on these earlier MacBooks. Making that tweak was just a matter of going into the driver manager on Linux Mint and then it did the rest. After updating the Wi-Fi drivers, the computer's loading web pages a lot faster now, probably twice as fast. Still very much not lightning fast, but sub 10 seconds per page. Okay, I'm curious to just try a few other things just to see what the experience is. Everything seems to be opening pretty fast, all things considered. Okay, so we're into the software manager now. Took a minute to load the cache initially to pull up all the apps here, but now that we're here, it's again quite snappy. Honestly, for my friend, I don't know if he's even going to need anything out of here because this is really just going to be a browser and email machine. We'll pop around. Maybe we'll get this chess app. The chess app is here. Oh yeah. A drawing utility. Let's try to draw the Cheshire Cat. That's something that I feel like I can kind of draw. Oh no. Oh, I'm gonna have a hard time here. This is tough. Can you guys tell that this is teeth? Oh no. Yeah, this is brutal. Let's give him a little top hat as well. There we go. Give him a little body, a couple of stick legs. An average Picasso, wouldn't you say? I think I'm done here. So overall, folks, I'm very happy with how this installation went. It's just so crazy that with the support of Linux, you can take a computer literally from the dump and have it running and functional. And if this is new information to you, you didn't know that such a thing like this was possible, then I hope it's empowering because no matter what your budget of computer, you can get into something that's at least decent for almost free. And in my case, literally free. It's just so cool to see that something like Linux is out there that can help keep computers going for much longer than they're supported by their manufacturers and keep them out of the landfill. Because literally, folks, that is the power of Linux and of free computing. I pulled this computer out of the town dump, put a free operating system on it, and now I have a functional device. I'm curious to hear if you've ever done anything like this yourself, taken an old device and installed Linux on it to keep it going. Let me know in the comments what distro you used and what hardware it was. And also in my specific case with this '09 MacBook, do you think I chose the right distro by putting Linux Mint XFCE on here, or would you have recommended something else? Let me know down below. Thanks very much for watching, folks. I appreciate you as always, and I'll see you in the next one.